Donald Trump recently rambled on stage at an investor conference in Miami in which he was visibly confused and pathologically dishonest, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play from this investor conference in Miami. Donald Trump, of course, is once again demonstrating that he lacks the mental and character fitness needed to be president, and yet he is and will be for the next 4 years. So keep that in mind as we play this clip, starting with this one here.
Since my election, America's economic engines have come roaring back to life in just a very short period of time. Think of it, from November 5th, the progress that's been made has been amazing. The NASDAQ is up nearly 10% in just a few months, and that's a lot. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 2,200 points, and Bitcoin has set multiple all-time record highs because everyone knows that I'm committed to making America the crypto capital. We want to stay at the forefront of everything, and one of them is crypto, and Miami seems to be the...
Yeah, so a couple of things about this. Number one, recent polling indicates that people are not happy with Trump's management of the economy, particularly on the matter of inflation. Number one. But number two, he also, once again, in typical Trump hypocritical fashion, tries to have it both ways. When asked about inflation, Trump will say, I had nothing to do with that. I've only been president for a couple of weeks. That's Biden's fault. That's everybody else's fault. I have no responsibility to manage it. But then he simultaneously tries to take credit for more favorable macroeconomic indicators, like the stock market. And then you compare this to his behavior when he wasn't in office and President Biden was in charge. It was the opposite. Biden was responsible for inflation, according to Trump and Republicans, but not responsible for booming stock market performance or unemployment numbers or anything else. They are massive, unprincipled hypocrites because they can't even survive their own standards. They have to be hypocrites. And so the other thing I just want to point out, too, is Trump's emphasis on cryptocurrency is so self-serving. Remember, after the election, but shortly before he was inaugurated, Trump launched a bullshit meme coin. It was perhaps the most singular brazen act of financial corruption we have ever seen from a politician seeking to enrich himself from the presidency. This meme coin from a soon-to-be sitting president of the United States effectively doubled his net worth on paper, and reportedly he and his family have made at least $100 million off just the trading fees alone, even though nearly 2,000 supporters of his who launched or bought into the meme coin lost billions of dollars. Just again, blatant, egregious corruption, the likes of which we've never seen. So here's another clip.
Came from all over, and they were allowed to come into our country, and we're getting them out in record levels, just like they came in record levels. I want to thank Tom Homan and Christie, who was she's doing a fantastic job, governor of South Dakota.
So a couple of things. It's not true that we're seeing record numbers of deportations. As a matter of fact, there have been credible reports saying that the Trump administration is trying to compensate for the fact that the rates have been relatively low, certainly compared to the Biden administration, that they're trying to do these really cruel, high-profile deportation stunts, trying to shock and awe to compensate for the lack of raw numbers being on their side. Number one. Number two, this is where Trump's age really starts to show itself. So he mentions Tom Homan, the border czar. And then he starts to say Christie. Now, he wanted to say Kristi Noem, and then he hesitated and said, Christie, she's doing a really great job, governor of South Dakota. He forgot Kristi Noem's last name. And she's no longer the governor of South Dakota. She is the Secretary of Homeland Security that you appointed and got Senate confirmed. So again, once again, proof that Donald Trump, remember, during the campaign, Trump, his polling with respect to mental fitness was not great. Even when Biden was his Democratic opponent. A majority of polls showed that Americans also had doubts about Trump's mental fitness. And then when Vice President Harris became the nominee, the number of people who were concerned about Trump's mental fitness by comparison to Kamala's skyrocketed. And again, we're just seeing signs of it all over the place. Here's another clip.
I signed an order creating the Department of Government Efficiency and put a man named Elon Musk in charge. Thank you, Elon, for doing it.
So this is not a good thing either, because as we've discussed in previous videos, Trump is contradicting himself once again. Donald Trump, the Trump administration, and the White House have been all over the place in the past 72 hours about what Elon Musk's role is specifically. So a key figure in the Trump administration signed an affidavit to Judge Tanya Chutkan in D.C. regarding a lawsuit against Doge and Elon Musk, saying, oh, Elon Musk isn't in charge of Doge. He's not the Doge administrator. He's just a senior advisor. And then you have key White House aides like Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, and Caroline Leavitt, Trump's press secretary, contradicting themselves about, oh, Elon Musk is in charge. No, he's not in charge. And then you have Trump himself also contradicting everybody, saying, oh, actually, yeah, Elon Musk is in charge. So they can't even get their story straight. And that could result in some sort of like legal penalty in this lawsuit. I mean, that affidavit was signed under the pains and penalties of perjury. So the person who signed it might face some sort of legal consequence if Judge Chutkan's like, wait a minute, you guys didn't name the Doge administrator. And we have Trump, the press secretary, the deputy chief of staff, and you all saying different things. Seems like you're lying, which of course MAGA does uniquely. Here's another clip.
Money. And in another program, $50 million plus another $50 million for condoms for Hamas. Do you know about that? $100 million for condoms. Condoms. Does everybody know what a condom is?
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't, but you probably wish you do, or wish you did know it at the time, given your relationships with Eric and some of your other children. You probably wish you'd used a condom. But of course, this is, again, a demonstration of either severe pathological dishonesty or cognitive decline, because this particular notion, this talking point, has been relentlessly debunked. It's been debunked to Trump's face. It was debunked to Elon Musk's face when he stood by Trump in the Oval Office. We didn't send $100 million in condoms to Hamas. We didn't send $10 million in condoms to Hamas. We sent $0 in condoms or for condoms to Hamas, and yet Trump continues unabated. So again, either he is a peerless, pathological liar, or he is mentally unfit to be president. One of the two. There is no third good faith option. Here's another clip.
But we've also required that all federal employees must once again show up to work. It's a new phenomena, since COVID. Show up to work in person like the rest of us. So, I mean, it doesn't work when you don't show up. And I see companies now are all going back to it. They're all going back. It's great. I watch some of the big business leaders saying we absolutely are going back. You can't work at home. They're not working. They're playing tennis, they're playing golf, or they have other jobs.
So that's so funny because Donald Trump on paper has the most powerful and important job on earth, right? And yet he has spent at least a quarter of his new administration, his new presidency, golfing, usually back at Mar-a-Lago. So he really has no credibility on this particular topic. And again, either just total dishonesty or cognitive, like it doesn't occur to him like, oh my God, I am engaging in massive hypocrisy here by accusing others of lazily playing golf rather than doing their job when that's what I do. Like he doesn't recognize that, which is concerning, or he does recognize that fact, that hypocrisy, and he simply doesn't care, even though his job is more important and should require much more attention than any of the jobs that he's complaining about that are held by people who allegedly don't work at all. So again, either way, there's no good faith interpretation, which makes Trump look good here. He's either incredibly dishonest or incredibly cognitively impaired, one of the two. Here's another clip.
And it was just announced, this is an interesting one, I didn't realize it was that bad for so long, but it was just announced by one of the nation's most historically accurate and respected pollsters, Rasmussen, that the number of Americans who believe our country is on the right track now exceeds those who think it's heading in the wrong direction for the first time in 20 years. Can you believe that? 20 years.
So again, what's interesting about this, there's recent polling, we'll probably do a video about this, which is really bad for Trump, saying that his economic approval is underwater, which is staggering. Number one, because he's a Republican and they enjoy a colossal perception advantage with respect to economic management. But those same polls also indicate that more Americans think we are still headed on the wrong track than the right track. So he's cherry picking his polls, and there seems to be credible evidence to the contrary. But again, that's Trump for you. Here's another clip.
Extra and put it out and get paid for that. You're going to be able to do that. You could put it back into the grid, but you're going to be able to build with your plant a generating facility, and we're going to get you Lee Zeldin, head of the environment, head of environmental, the environmental group, various groups, and we've got them unified now, but we're going to get you very fast approvals, and they'll be approved so fast.
So again, that's Trump's cognitive decline on full display. Lee Zeldin was the Trump-appointed director of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. That's what he was talking about. But he's just so befuddled at this point that he can't even remember just three letters, EPA. You don't even have to give, the acronym itself. Like, you don't have to explain what it is. Just say the EPA. Most people know what you're talking about. But there we are. This guy's the president of the United States. He's the most powerful man on earth, with the possible exception of his boss, Elon Musk. And we already see, once again on full display, that he lacks both the mental and character fitness to be president, as he continues to lie, incoherently ramble, and just engage in a total display of a cognitive decline in this respect. It's just really, really concerning. And he's doing it on stage at an investor conference where he's like really emphasizing his own self-interest, like with respect to crypto. All of this is deeply unsettling. It should be deeply unsettling, which is why more people need to be talking about it. And again, when you're thinking about that, also remember, we're 4 weeks into this. It's going to be a long 4 years. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.